Chamber Insights, where professionals share. My name is Phillip, and I am the Executive Director of the Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce. Now, the Chamber is made up of diverse businesses that fuel our local economy and positively impact our communities every single day. Entrepreneurs carve out unique paths and introduce us to new ideas and experiences we might never have encountered. And that's the true beauty of a member network. And we're going to talk about some differences and cool crafts today. So please join me in welcoming Naysan McIlhargey, founder of the handmade, functional, and wood-fired Miami Valley Pottery in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Naysan.
Hey, Phillip. Thank you.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Happy to be with you.
I'm so excited that you're here. I see that you're in your studio and all of that. There's so many things to see. But before we get started, I'm sure we're going to go on a mini tour. How did you get into pottery?
Well, I grew up in Yellow Springs, and when I was in high school a while ago, back in the day, they used to have community experience. You remember that?
I do not.
Okay. Community experience is where they placed you with people in the community for credit, and you got to work with professionals in the community.
Oh, wow.
So at the time, Esther Rothman was the coordinator, and she knew that I was into art. So she placed me with David and Keiko Hergesheimer in Yellow Springs. So all 4 years of high school, I worked with them. And then once I went to Earlham College and took a course my first year, then I knew that I wanted to be a potter. And then I was exposed to the ceramic world, like pottery from all over the world and the history of ceramics. And I learned about wood-fired pottery, and I became interested in that.
So wood-fired pottery, I know there's a big difference, and I'm eager to go on a tour of your place, but set it up for us. Wood-fired pottery, what is that, and why is it unique?
Yeah, okay. So wood-fired pottery is unique because we, as the fuel to heat up the kiln, we use wood, whereas typically you're using electricity or gas. But wood firing is different because, well, I have an example here. If it's okay, I can show you this.
Absolutely.
This is a mug that I'm using now. I have water in it, and this is unglazed. There's no glaze on this. This is all colored from the kiln. Wood ash that flies around during the 5 days of firing, and each piece is marked differently by the wood kiln.
So you said that it's not glazed, and just for my natural eyes, it looks shiny. Why is it shiny if it's not glazed?
Well, that's the beauty of the wood ash. When it hits the kiln, when it hits the pots, once you reach a certain temperature, it becomes a glaze. It becomes a natural glaze. So these pots that are not glazed, eventually they will become glossy. Whereas here, this plate here, this is a glazed plate. Okay. So this has glaze on it. The stein, the mug, has glaze on the inside, but the outside is left unglazed, and it's given to the kiln gods. And whatever happens in the kiln, that's what you get.
Wow. So is it wood firing? Is that pretty unique? Is that special? Does everybody do that in Ohio?
No, it's unusual. And the reason it's unusual is because it's very, very, very labor intensive. So, for example, when we fire the kiln, so I make pots. You can see yesterday I threw mixing bowls. Those are mixing bowls that I threw yesterday. So that's one pot that I made, and there's about 45 of them. And then there'll be a few thousand pots that go into the kiln. It takes 2 weeks, 14 days to fire the kiln, or to load the kiln. And then once it's loaded, then we start the kiln on a Tuesday, warming up the kiln with wood. And then a cruise of people, there's about 30 people that come to help put wood into the kiln over a 5-day period. And then eventually we reach 2,500 degrees with wood, which is really difficult to do. That's the other reason why people don't do it, is because it's a lot easier to do it with electricity or gas. So because it's labor intensive, it kind of scares people away a little bit.
Oh my goodness. And you do all of that in your shop there?
Yeah, so all the pots are made in this kiln, and the or in this studio, and then eventually they're fired in our wood kiln.
Got it. So it's called a studio, and it looks like it's very creative. Can you take us on like a mini tour there in your place and show us
Yeah,
what we're looking
yeah,
at? Because you're not your general brick and mortar store. Like you said, it's a studio, so people are really
right.
coming for the experience, not just the plate. So show us. So what are we looking at?
Okay, so we have the other thing about the pottery here is that we have different themes each firing. So,
Mm.
for example, our most recent theme was inlaid ceramics, where you carve into the piece and put a different colored slip. So this was an inlaid piece, and then you scratch away the surface to get back to the clay. So we have different themes. So for example, the tiny pots that you see here, these are all tiny pots.
Oh
And then
wow.
once we come into the studio, you can see we have different, this is our showroom. We have different themes that we've had from previous firings.
Oh my goodness. Look at all that.
Year round. And then when we have our kiln sale, we usually have a big 2 weekend kiln opening sale that we show all of the new themed, new fired pots. And then we move everything back into this part of the showroom so I can start production again. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm working on pots for the next firing. So our theme for this coming firing is horses. We're doing a study of horses on plates and platters and these bowls, and they'll all be shown at the Winds Cafe in November and December.
Oh wow! So at the Winds Cafe, downtown Yellow Springs, they're going to feature Miami Valley Pottery in November and December. Oh
Right.
wow!
And we do that show every 2 years in November and December.
How do people? I know it's an experience, and I know all of that. With you being, not located downtown and in such a curated area, how do people come across like, oh wow, there you are? Like, how do you even find people that are interested in such unique items?
It's an ongoing learning for me how to get new customers, and I'm constantly trying to tap into the customer base in Yellow Springs. But ultimately, our best way of reaching people is email, and then we send out postcards when we have our kiln opening sale. So we have a big mailing list that we send these cards out to,
Yeah.
and once we have these sales, people come during the 2 weekends and they get to see all the new things that were fired. So we have a very, very loyal customer base.
I would imagine because I'm looking at it, and because it's so unique. I have one of your glasses. Well, I don't know. It's called a, what is it called? It's not a. Is it a mug? I have.
Yeah. Does it have a handle on it?
Yeah, it's a mug.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay,
a mug. Yeah.
I know your situations at home. No, and I just love it. But it's definitely something. It's definitely something to experience, and I think it's one of those things where if you love collecting things, or if you're looking for something that is an awesome gift for someone, it's uh, simply incredible. Your work has showed up in some pretty unique places because it's so artistic. Is what you do a lot? Um, is it notable to be artistic? Do people know it for its artistic nature?
Well, we do tend to I tend to tap into, I guess, the artistic side of me sometimes when I have my different themes. So
Yeah.
for example, we recently, a couple years ago, we had a study of Persian ceramics because my family is from Iran, and I studied Persian ceramics from the last 800 years or so.
Wow.
So that's very like detailed craftsmanship and artistic rendering of pieces that are from that period. And then when I do these shows at the Winds, for example, I try to highlight some of the different techniques that I use in decorating these platters. So 100 or 150 platters with horses on them, and you have to be creative in how you decorate the horses because you want them all to be unique and you want them all to be different. So these are the ways that my artistic kind of skills are put to the test, let's say.
Yeah, I know that, in this time, this is, based on economy. I know in this time, economy, entrepreneurs, there's just a lot of conversation about, growth and sustainability. What drives you as far as passion is concerned to have such an unconventional business and keep moving forward the way that you are?
Right. What drives me? I have a I think a lot of potters are passionate about their work, and I'm no exception to that. I find, for example, making all these bowls yesterday, I find still after doing this for 30 years, almost 30 years, I still am amazed by the process. Still, like I've made these bowls hundreds of times, and I still love the learning that occurs, and because of the wood firing, things are unpredictable. We don't know how things are going to turn out. So in essentially every time we fire, it's an experiment. So that in itself can be nerve-wracking, but it can also be very exciting. So to me, that's part of the reason why I'm passionate about this process, because there's so much to learn, especially if you study ceramics from world history and you try to understand how things were done thousands of years ago and implement it into your own work. There's endless possibilities of things to do.
Wow. Okay, so encapsulate it. If somebody is to take home a piece, a unique piece, a one-of-a-kind piece, based on what you were saying about how it's fired, what kind of work are they taking home? What piece of, not structure, but when you get something from Miami Valley Pottery, you're taking home this?
Yeah, so we have people that have dinner sets of our dinner plates. We have people that come here just for a mug. We have people that are really into baking pies, so they love our pie plates. Casseroles, lidded casseroles. We make tagines, which are different. You don't typically find tagines around, and people come here for the tagines or the salt shakers. We have salt shakers that are featured at the Winds Cafe, and people come here specifically for those. I mean, so it's all functional, meant to be used pottery. So that's the basis for it. And then everything else is, to test the culinary limits. Like, what can you do? What can you do with the pottery to make it enjoyable for people to enjoy beauty on their dinner table every day? That's important to us.
Wow.
Dining with beautiful things. And then once you're used to it, then you're not going to, use plastic or things that are mass produced, because this is handmade and people want to use a handmade piece.
I feel called out on the plastic and mass produced. I feel called out.
We got to get you a plate, Phillip.
I gotta get a plate. Naysan, thank you so much for opening up your studio, opening up your passion, and giving us an inside look as to what's actually going on and seeing all the creativity. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I guess I'll reiterate that we are on the edge of Yellow Springs, so we're not downtown, but we are here and we're always open. So people are welcome to come out here, and we do some custom work. So people are welcome to come check things out anytime.
So that's Naysan with Miami Valley Pottery. Go to yschamber.org to learn more about Miami Valley Pottery and connecting and getting on that email list and having the opportunity to visit them in the studio. I will see you next time here on Chamber Insights, where professionals share.
To be a guest on Chamber Insights or to inquire about advertising opportunities, please email insights@yschamber.org or visit www.yschamber.org/insights.